Fragile baby walrus named Nereus struggles to stay alive. Found orphaned and alone on a freezing beach in Alaska, his chances aren't good. But skilled and loving caregivers are determined to help Nereus, even though few walrus calves have ever survived without their mothers. Relocated to a zoo thousands of miles away, the little walrus must learn to survive in his new environment. Nereus will find incredible tenderness from his surrogate human family. But every day, the little walrus will be confronted with difficult challenges and ordeals. Nereus's journey begins now on Growing Up Walrus. From far above the Arctic Circle, very rare and precious cargo has just arrived at the Anchorage airport. Inside the container is an orphan baby Pacific walrus, less than 5 days old, and fighting for his life. Tim Lebling and his rescue and rehabilitation team are prepared to do whatever it takes, but they are worried the young animal may not survive.
It looked like it was a little beaten up, and it did have an open umbilical cord, so we aged it at less than 5 days old, where its umbilical cord had just fallen off. So it was a fairly young animal.
2 days ago, the little walrus was spotted all alone on a cold, desolate beach near Barrow, Alaska. Such a sighting is unusual because walruses rarely abandon their calves. Tim speculates the mother and calf could have been separated in a storm. Or the mother could have fallen victim to a killer whale or a polar bear. Federal law makes it illegal for anyone to touch a marine mammal without proper authorization. So experts with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service were called in to observe the calf on the beach for 48 hours and establish if, indeed, he had been orphaned. This was a critical decision, because if they survive in captivity, walrus calves become too dependent on humans to ever be returned to the wild. The baby walrus must now be driven some 3 hours to the Alaska Sea Life Center's rescue and rehab facility in Seward. The little walrus's life will be completely dependent on the team's skill and love. A towel covers his eyes to keep him as calm as possible.
These guys are very strong. Once you pull their flippers up, or once you're able to get them in a position that they can't thrash around, that's your key.
The veterinarian quickly determines the infant has been badly stressed. He's malnourished and dehydrated. There is evidence that seabirds pecked at him. He's infested with sea lice, and at 120 pounds, he is 20 pounds underweight.
There was also some issues with its sinuses, and it had very bloody nares, and we weren't sure whether there was something going on, some type of infection.
As the team cares for the trembling little guy, they decide to nickname him Nereus, after the Greek god of the ocean, who is also known as the wise old man of the sea.
With his big whiskers and coming in as just a beautiful but large pup, he quickly became the old man of the sea.
They must use a tube to quickly speed aminoplex into Nereus's body. It's a specially prepared amino acid complex that will give him nutritional support for the first 24 hours. Then they begin to administer antibiotics along with a special vitamin-enriched formula that is like walrus mother's milk. Inside the center, Nereus runs the risk of overheating. Ice is poured around the special holding area that will be his new home. Walruses have a thick layer of fat under their skin called blubber that keeps them warm in their natural Arctic environment. The caregivers hope Nereus can gain strength in his new home. The next few days will be critical if the young calf is to live. In less than a week, the baby walrus is remarkably more responsive and has gained several pounds. The around-the-clock feeding and attention is paying off.
Walruses spend a tremendous amount of time in the wild actually making contact with other walruses. So when you see them in the wild, they're in big piles. 95% of their time, they're touching something. So all of a sudden, we became that 95% of the time where we had to constantly touch it. And this little guy really was affectionate, and we found that it really wanted to just crawl up into your arms. It wanted to sleep. Really, that's what it wanted to do. It really wanted contact and really wanted to touch and be touched.
Nereus has now learned to feed from a bottle. He gets 5 to 6 gallons a day of the special enriched milk formula. If Nereus can reach adulthood, he'll be a real treasure. That's because in North America, there are only 27 other walruses in human care. With so few animals, there is the danger of genetic inbreeding that leads to birth defects and disease. The hope is that Nereus can enhance the captive population's gene pool and contribute to a better understanding of wild walrus reproduction and conservation. After 2 months, Nereus has recovered enough to be moved to a permanent home. An enormous effort must be made to find a place that can handle this baby that will one day grow into a 3,000-pound animal. The solution is found, but it's 3,000 miles away at the Indianapolis Zoo, one of the few facilities in the U.S. that can handle walruses.
Indianapolis just seemed like a perfect place because they do have their male walrus currently, and then they have 2 female walruses. And so really a perfect place.
To help with the transition, the Indy Zoo sends some of their most experienced marine mammal experts to Alaska. For keeper Amanda Barnett, it was love at first sight.
When I first saw Nereus, I pretty much just fell in love right away.
But as a skilled caregiver, Amanda knows the little walrus still has a difficult struggle ahead of him.
He's already starting, at a lower weight than he should have. He's got these cuts and scrapes. You never know how much milk he actually got from mom. So how is he going to be able to fight off infection, and how is he going to be able to survive without having seen everything with mom?
A week passes, and it's time for Nereus to leave his native Alaska and his first human friend, Tim.
There's definitely been a human bond I've formed with Nereus, as well as I think there's a bond that Nereus has formed with me. So knowing that you have this relationship almost with a baby and a walrus is pretty amazing.
Bye, Nereus. He said bye.
After an 8-hour flight, Nereus arrives at the Indianapolis Zoo, greeted by a welcoming party of keepers.
Look how cute he is.
He weighs 171 pounds now, but he's too small and fragile to be housed with the other walruses. So, for the time being, he will have to stay in the seal and sea lion facility. Amanda's goal is to help Nereus gain the weight and learn the skills he'll need to one day live with his own kind at the walrus habitat. For now, one of Nereus's new neighbors will be Tack, the seal. Being around other animals is important and enriching stimulation for Nereus, even if Tack isn't so hospitable. Having experiences first with animals his own size will prepare Nereus to be introduced to the gigantic adults of his own species. It's hard to believe that one day, Nereus will be the size of Brutus. He's 12 feet long and weighs 2,700 pounds. Male walruses are extremely strong and can be violent. Brutus is very gentle with Amanda, but she's always aware that he can easily harm her. But for Nereus to reach Brutus's age and become an adult walrus, he has a number of critical milestones he must achieve in his struggle to survive. When growing up walrus continues, Nereus's nutritional needs are changing, and Amanda is worried. The baby walrus must learn to eat solid food to survive. Coming up, we now return to Growing Up Walrus. Nereus is hungry. The orphan Pacific baby walrus is almost 5 months old and now weighs 217 pounds. His daily veterinarian checkups have been good. He's off antibiotics and is on the road to recovery. Nereus still gets a bottle of special milk formula 6 times a day, but his nutritional needs are changing. He must learn to eat solid food. His very life will depend on it. Nereus is most at home in water, and he seems to really enjoy having his primary caregiver, Amanda Barnett, join him.
He's just latched on to my leg, which is what he would do with Mom. Latch on to her. They also, a lot of times out in the wild, will ride on Mom's back after they get tired from swimming. So if I turned around, I'm sure he would get on my back.
Amanda savors these special moments with the baby walrus.
Hey, you want to come and sit with me?
She knows that all too soon he will grow so large that it will be too dangerous to get in the water with him.
He's got my leg.
Because an adult male Pacific walrus can top the scales at more than a ton, even an affectionate snuggle could severely injure Amanda. And in the water, it could be deadly. Even now, she must take care when she is around Nereus.
There you go.
At only 5 months, he already weighs over 200 pounds.
Okay. On the knee. He does like to cuddle right up on you and sometimes puts a lot of pressure on your legs. So you have to just kind of watch where he positions himself. And what he's starting to do is, this is good because this means he's gonna sit for a while. He likes to tuck his back flippers up underneath him right here, and then he'll kind of press his front flippers up next to him. It's almost just like he's in a little ball. What?
Walruses, especially males, can be highly aggressive creatures. Amanda believes Nereus is gentle because he has accepted and trusts his caregivers.
Getting all stretched out. So you've got to get all situated. There you go. You want to lay on your back? So you can see pretty well his chest and belly right here. He did have a dermatitis, which is kind of what some of the redness is from, but he's actually healing really well. and starting to grow in some more hair there. I don't think he'll ever grow in all of the hair there, but because he was it was more of a rash, but he's healing pretty well, so. And you can see a couple of scars on him just from being out in the wild.
These cuddling sessions have a very important practical function that will benefit Nereus greatly as he gets older.
It's also during these cuddle times that I would also try to just do some tactile on him, just to get him used to feeling, tactile on his back flippers or on his sides. Back when he didn't used to even like to be touched anywhere, so we'd use this time to be able to do that, just so he could kind of get used to being felt.
Touching is the first step in teaching Nereus health and husbandry behaviors that will allow the keepers to care for him and give him medical treatment if he should need it.
But even just something as simple as having him open his mouth for us, we'll want to get that down, just so we can do a full body check on him. Where are you going?
And while Amanda knows Nereus can never be considered a pet, she feels an exceptional connection to him.
It's just a unique bonding experience, one that you don't usually think you're going to be able to have, so it's very unique.
The cuddling session is over for now. It's time to see if Nereus will eat solid food. It's an important part of Amanda's strategy to help Nereus survive. She must eventually wean him from the bottle and onto a diet of solid food, or he'll die from a lack of nourishment. Amanda introduces little pieces of fish.
Would you like some fishies? Let's see how he does. We'll try a tail piece.
The other keepers have come to watch and lend their support.
What do you think? What do you think? You gonna eat some or just play with them?
This requires patience. Amanda knows it could take many more weeks before Nereus will grasp this important lesson.
Out in the wild, he would be able to watch his mom eat different shellfish off the bottom of the ocean floor and then just kind of mimic what she does. Do you eat it? No? So that's the difference here. We're not actually eating the fish and showing him what to do.
Amanda decides to try another technique, actually putting the fish in Nereus's mouth.
Yeah. All right, look. What if I show you another one? You eat that piece?
It's also important for Nereus to switch from the formula to solid food, because that is what he must eat in order to live with the others in the walrus habitat.
Okay, I think we'll do bottle. What about this? Oh, okay, that looks good. Then maybe you can try some more fish after that. No problem here.
After the bottle, Amanda again tries to feed Nereus some fish. This time, she sees real progress.
There you go. He's sucking like he would on a bottle and then just accidentally swallowing it. Can you swallow that one? Well, he ate one piece. And now just kind of letting him play around with them. Maybe get a little bit into his mouth even and get the taste of them. For one of the first times, this is pretty good.
Coming up, winter arrives in Indiana, and Nereus gets his first taste of snow.
Can't get it off.
Only on more of Growing Up Walrus. Winter has come to Indiana. As Amanda walks to the sea lion area where Nereus is being housed, she has a lot on her mind. The baby orphan walrus is now 6 months old. And except for those first fleeting days with his mother, he has never seen another walrus. Amanda knows Nereus needs to be with his own kind as soon as possible. Walruses are extremely social creatures, and in the wild, they live in herds that may include as many as 200 individuals. But before Amanda can dare put Nereus in with the other walruses at the zoo, there are many lessons he still must master.
Obviously, right now, he spends a lot of time with us. To me, I think he probably thinks he's a person. He does not yet even know what another walrus looks like, smells like, sounds like. So our main goal right now is to get him over and to see the walruses. And that's really the only way we can see right now that he will thrive socially. Yeah.
To get to the walrus habitat, Nereus will have to learn how to ride in a van. And today will be a dress rehearsal for that big event. But first, Amanda has a Winter's Day surprise.
Come and see your first snow. Good boy. There's lots out here.
The other keepers had come to watch the little walrus learn about the van. But now, they are fascinated as Nereus explores the weather conditions he would have grown up in had he not been orphaned.
What a good boy. Is it cold on your flippers? Since it is his first snow, we just kind of want to see what he'll do. There you go. Don't get it in your nose. I could do this. Walruses are naturally built to deal with snow. They have a very thick layer of blubber that helps them to adjust to all the cold temperatures.
Ready for his close-up.
Nereus seems to adapt to the snow quickly.
I think he likes it.
But Amanda worries it will divert his attention from learning how to get into the van.
He may be distracted from the snow, but he's usually pretty comfortable wherever the bottle goes. So as long as he's near the bottle, I think he'll follow pretty well. Are you going back? It feels kind of neat too.
They will have many practice sessions so that Nereus will learn to go voluntarily. As he grows larger, the van will be the only method available to transport him, not only around the zoo, but to the veterinary hospital if he should need any serious medical attention.
Good boy.
Spring has come, and Nereus is full of energy. He's 8 months old and weighs 264 pounds. He's now eating fish along with his formula, and that has helped him gain 93 pounds since he arrived at the zoo. Amanda believes he is now strong enough for one of the most important experiences in his young life. She is taking him to see the walrus habitat for the very first time.
Exhibit will eventually be Nereus's home, so we are wanting to get him used to that area over there.
Since Nereus came to the zoo, he's been kept at the sea lion facility because he's too small to live with the huge and potentially dangerous adult walruses. But today, that's going to change. Nereus makes his way into the holding area, adjacent to the walrus habitat. It's a milestone moment. He is about to get his premiere look at a larger version of himself. And just to be safe, he'll be protected by a gate.
Right now, Aurora, one of our adult females, she has currently come up to the gate. She kind of knows that Nereus is over here now, so she wants to come and see what this is all about. We just allow them to interact through the gate if they want to. If they don't want to, that's fine also. Really, this is all about just getting him around the walruses. Because over at Sea Lion, he is just in an area by himself in the holding and isolation area over there. Good.
The adult male, Brutus, is kept in a separate area. It won't be safe to meet him until Nereus has more than doubled his present size and weighs at least 600 pounds. While the female walruses are kept behind the gate in the habitat, Nereus begins exploring the adjacent holding area that will be his new home. Staying here will allow him to be near his own kind, yet still remain protected.
Now that we've been able to get him over here to the walrus exhibit, it's been wonderful because he can actually get outside, be in the sunshine, hear other walruses. He actually is starting to learn he is a walrus. Okay, he didn't want me sitting down on that stool, I guess. He wants to play with it. So see what I mean by his personality? It's just coming out in every single way. And he is gonna play with it now, so. As you can see, he does find his way to make you laugh. He never really ever frustrates you, that's for sure. But he's just a one-of-a-kind animal.
For a month and a half, Nereus has continued to interact through the security gate with the female walruses, Sitka and Aurora. But today, Amanda will take the protection away. The plan is for Nereus to go face-to-face with one of the 1,400-pound females.
The big event for today is to put Nereus and Sitka together to introduce them. We're gonna have people on the gates. If there is any aggression between the two, that way we can get the gates open and separate them if we need to. Good boy. I am nervous just because the size difference, but I'm also very excited. Nereus needs to be with walruses.
Nereus seems fascinated about the encounter. Sitka doesn't.
Sitka was chosen to be the first one to meet Nereus, mainly because she hasn't shown a great interest in him, where Aurora, our other female, has shown quite a bit of interest in him, and she may want to latch onto him a little more than Sitka. So we are starting off with Sitka.
Sitka keeps away from the little walrus, but Nereus wants to play.
This is a very important milestone for him to be introduced to one of our females because they are going to be his future sisters, I guess you could call them, or possibly he may mate with one of them when he gets a little bit older.
The keepers watch as Sitka continues to avoid Nereus.
Here he comes. You can't see me.
Finally, Sitka seems to calm down enough to allow Nereus to swim in the water with her.
She became a little more comfortable. You could see her just kind of swimming as if she were by herself in there. Now he, on the other hand, just seems very intrigued by her. Could have gone even better had they got along on land. But the fact that they were in the water together and just swimming around, he was able to feel on her a couple times. So I think it went really well.
Sitka leaves, and Amanda allows Nereus some playtime. A nice reward after an exciting first-time experience, and another critical step in Nereus's development. Still ahead on Growing Up Walrus, everyone gets ready for Nereus's first birthday.
You can hear him, he's ready for his birthday cake.
But tensions rise when a new walrus threatens to get rough with Nereus. Only Up Walrus. 3 months have passed, and Nereus now weighs 335 pounds. He still lives separated from the adult walruses. But as part of his continuing education, he is now allowed to swim in the adult habitat area when they are not there. The hope is that coming here will familiarize the young walrus with a place that will one day be his permanent home. However, today's visit to the habitat will be very different from anything Nereus has experienced in the past. As Nereus swims, his caregivers are busy preparing a special surprise.
Today we are celebrating Nereus's first birthday. About a year ago today he was born. You can hear him, he's ready for his birthday cake.
Surviving for a full year is a great achievement.
Yes, are you ready?
Very few orphan walrus calves live long in captivity because they are so dependent on their mothers. Today is cause for celebration because Nereus is thriving in his new environment better than anyone could have imagined a year ago.
We'll just go ahead and open this up. It's your birthday! In order to celebrate his birthday today, we are going to bring out some fun ice toys. They've got some fish maybe sticking out of them to resemble a candle. What do you think, bud? Kind of like a birthday cake for him. The birthday boy.
Nereus endears himself to his human friends by appearing to enjoy their company even more than his cake. But the party is just getting underway. Surprise guests are arriving.
Here comes some friends.
It's the large female Sitka and someone new. For the first time, Nereus will meet the other 1,400-pound female walrus, Aurora. This is the first time all three of the walruses have been together in the habitat.
Anytime you introduce an animal to another animal, you do get a little nervous.
Aurora makes her move toward little Nereus.
We are hoping that she won't be too overbearing. Aurora has a tendency to be a little overbearing.
All too quickly, everyone realizes the girls are not as interested in Nereus as they are in his fish-filled birthday cake. The young walrus may have learned a good lesson about living with the females.
It's going to be a little hard for him to fit in. He's obviously quite a bit younger, and the females, they have their niche. They fit pretty well together, and so Nereus is going to have to work his way in a little bit and try to find where he can fit in with our females.
When the cake is gone, Aurora turns her attention to Nereus.
Pushing him a little bit.
Hopefully, Nereus will be able to hold his own with her in the pool.
Oh my God. Of course, like, what is your problem?
It's like thrashing around in the water.
Aurora appears to take pleasure in swimming with a little orphan walrus.
You need to act like a walrus. He was like...
He's gonna be a walrus now.
Then Sitka joins them and the play continues.
Oh, he's trying to run. Yeah, maybe I don't. There he is. Hey, buddy, how are you? Oh, he's like, I have to hurry. He's gonna be worn out.
With his first birthday party over, Nereus seems reluctant to return to his solitary holding area. His first encounter with both of the adult females went well.
Good, here?
The hope is one day he will get to stay permanently with them. Coming up next, the adult walruses show Nereus some new behaviors he will have to learn. And Nereus faces his biggest challenge yet. Can he survive all alone at night with the big females? Next, we now return to Growing Up Walrus. Each day for more than 3 months, Nereus, the orphan Pacific walrus, has been able to visit with the huge female walruses at the Indianapolis Zoo. But if Nereus is going to be allowed to permanently live with them, he is going to have to pass a series of difficult tests.
His relationship with Sitka and Aurora is actually going very well. We're able to bring him out here on a daily basis, and they just pretty much coexist just fine.
But coexisting is not enough. Special sessions in the walrus habitat are carefully designed to teach Nereus and the others various behaviors. The activities are based on those that walruses naturally do in the wild, and practicing these actions stimulates the animals. Also, the close handling allows the keepers to intimately know each animal's specific needs. Senior trainer Jenny Leinhardt works with Sitka.
So we train them a lot of husbandry behavior since they are so large. Things are going to just help us to be able to take care of them. Their tusks are a very important thing that they need to be used to us doing anything with. So we do a lot of training with her just letting me touch them, opening up her mouth, feeling on them, feeling her teeth, just so that she's used to that kind of thing, so that if we need to put the caps on, we're able to do that. Good girl.
Brutus makes a number of different vocalizations that we have on hand cue, so we can go ahead and run through some of those real quick. He does one that's called a roar. He does another silly one that's called a duck. It's kind of similar to Sitka's raspberry. Good. We are going to train Nereus to do all those similar behaviors. Most importantly, though, we want to work on those health and husbandry behaviors, doing the down position so we can do an overall body check.
Amanda is also teaching Nereus a behavior that helps her check his developing tusks. They can grow 3 feet long.
See them on the sides right here. It's pretty good looking here. Good. Very good boy.
Amanda believes Nereus has now matured enough for his final test, one that gives her great concern.
Nereus is going to spend the night on the exhibit with both Sitka and Aurora. This is his very first time to do this, so I'm a little nervous, kind of anxious to see what goes on and a little worried, but I'm gonna come here first thing in the morning to check on him, and hopefully everything will go well. Have fun tonight. I'll see you in the morning. Good night.
Amanda knows that every time Nereus has been with the female walruses, a keeper has been nearby in case of trouble. There will be no help for Nereus in the habitat overnight. If Sitka gets irritated, or if Aurora shows too much interest, Nereus could be injured by the 1,400-pound females. After more than a year of being the little walrus's protector, it's hard for Amanda to let go, but she knows it's time.
This unknown ship out.
Now, the conclusion of growing up walrus. All night long, Nereus, the orphan Pacific walrus, has been by himself in the habitat area with Sitka and Aurora, the two huge adult females. After a sleepless night, keeper Amanda Barnett rushes back to the habitat, and she's hoping for the best.
Nereus, how was it? Did you do okay last night? You look good. You have fun? I'm very relieved to see that everything went fine. He seems pretty happy, so I think it was a good night. He's really made that exchange over from, kind of hanging out by himself in the holding area to now he's becoming a walrus. He is becoming one of them.
Seeing Nereus thriving in his new home habitat is a fitting conclusion to an amazing journey. When the little walrus orphan was rescued on an Alaskan beach, everyone knew that if he could survive, he would never be released back into his native land. But with determination, skill, and love, his human caregivers nursed Nereus back to health.
What if I show you another one? Good.
In the coming months, Nereus the baby walrus will hardly look his age as he puts on hundreds of pounds. He will become more independent, yet at the same time, very stimulated and involved with his keepers as he continues his behavior lessons.
My long-term hope for Nereus would be that he grows to be 2,500, 3,000 pounds, that he's a really big boy, big and healthy. Good.
Nereus has beaten the odds and has thrived. His story is one of success
Good night.
and a testimony to the courage and spirit of this special little walrus.
We all have a soft spot for Nereus.